what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy the take off. The bat here is inexcusable crap. I mean, every single thing when we did our trust tree exercise on Friday where we talked about being worried about, all of it ended up coming true. Everything we tried to hand away and give them the benefit of the doubt on, they did not deserve the hand waving or the benefit of the doubt. And we'll go piece by piece and break it all down. What's up though, Jake? How you feeling there?
About the same as you are, T-Bob, and I had the same exact thought. I'm on my way to work this morning. I realize it's a holiday weekend and nobody's working today on Labor Day, but then you pull into this parking lot. You're the only swinging soul here because y'all park in the back, I park in the front, and I don't see another car. And I'm like, I'll be damned. That's just 4 years in a row. Just the same feeling that you had. I have pulled in this son of a gun. Nobody's here. We're working, and we got to come talk about a big turd sandwich.
Well, and it's funny because, in the run-up to this game, I felt like the first time ever I had finally not gone full sunshine pump, right? Like after burning myself on the stove 3 times, I had finally been like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't touch that cast iron while it's there. And then people are like, what are you, an idiot? Are you scared? Touch it. And so finally I'm like, okay, you know what? You're all right. What am I doing? No, I'm going to, hell yeah. Do they got it? No. And now I got to go to Patient Plus again and get my hand taken care of because I'm burned all over. Like, it's everything we said. Yeah. We told you the secondary was going to be a massive weakness, right? We told you that LSU or that, we were worried about Harold Perkins potentially following up on just that phenomenal freshman year, a position change. Told you it might not be for the best. We told you, and this I guess where it gets really bad because there were also unexpected bad things, right? Like, yeah. I thought that the offensive line would have been better. I mean, I know it's a very good defensive line, but you got to punch it in from the one. And I hate the play calling, and I'm excited to watch the film later today and gain further insight into my critiques of the play calling and where exactly the fault lies. But at first blush, hate the play calling, the goal line, but still, the offensive line, go score. Yeah. You're on the one. Yeah. So sick of excuses to go win and then everybody's like, I want to play Southeastern week 1. No, just go win, okay? Yeah. Just go win.
You had that excuse last year.
We hype you up being a championship team. Go freaking win the game. How did Florida State look so much more ready than you did week 1?
Yeah, maybe you had that excuse last year when Florida State played Duquesne in a week 0 matchup and they had a game and all that. They didn't have a week 0 matchup. And lined up and played the same time that you did. So, yeah, I'm not going to have that mentality. And some of you are, and that's fine, whatever. But, I hope you don't because you don't have that coming up on your schedule. You look, you've got USC, you've got Clemson, you've got Houston coming up on your schedule. So, that's not going to be the situation. And I don't want go play those games.
Yeah, exactly. Be a man. Go play the games. I want a good TV product. I don't want any cupcake games on the schedule. I don't want any of that crap. I want good on good every single week. I want all that smoke. LSU does not. Obviously. And look, if you think we're going to be harsh today, we'll play Brian Kelly's postgame press conference because he called it and he gets it and he knows he has to fix it. But here, okay, I'm trying. There's like a million different ways you could start here, right? So let's do this. I spoke on this a lot last night, Jake. So this is your first time kind of getting to, put your thoughts out there in the public for everyone. Just give me your kind of summary of what you witnessed last night.
I could tell you, just like I listened to you a little bit last night. You had your opportunities in the first half, and you don't punch it in, and you have to take full advantage of those. Think about the momentum you had quick in that game. You hit Bradford, and then you hit Mason Taylor, and you're ready to go in, and then you get a penalty. Kind of a questionable penalty. Okay, at the end of the whistle, you throw the quarterback down, but I'm like, okay. So you get gifted a little bit, a penalty to get a new set of downs, and you still don't punch it in, and you're so extra in those 4th down calls. So much going on. And T-Bob and I were talking about it before the show. Line up, run the football, or do what you did a year ago. And T-Bob, you're exactly right. Like last year, you had a package down there that worked almost every single time.
Almost every
You
single
had
time.
3 options on every play. You can hand it, you can roll, or you can throw it to Mason Taylor. And they did it in the game. Just keep it simple, stupid down there.
And what we're talking about here is where basically, yeah, like first you have the hand read where you can handball the running back on like a little zone, but then Jaden takes off towards the sideline with a receiver in the flats in front of him, and it just puts that defense in that push-pull of, okay, who do I commit to, receiver or quarterback, and Jaden makes sure. But, yeah.
I mean, you had a lot of moving parts on those plays and just felt like you were trying to save almost like a 2-point conversion type play when that's not what that situation calls for. But even after all that, even after a couple of times where you could have gotten points, and I am fully okay with them going for it. Like, you got to have full faith in your team. I mean, the second one, you're talking about less than a yard. Go out there and get it. Keep the drive alive on that one. Score on the first one, and you leave points out there. That's always going to come back and get you. And then, but even then, you still felt like you had the momentum. You go up before half. You get 3 points. Now they score, but you drive in a minute and some change, and you go find a way to get 3 points, and they get the ball, but 17-14, you're feeling okay. You're like, we left chances out there, but we still have the momentum. And the shocking thing about this game, the most shocking, because there was a lot of things that were shocking, you did not make the adjustments at halftime when last year you did it as well as anybody in the country. Think about it, like Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Alabama, Florida, like all these games that you won, you were the better team adjusting. And you came out and you were 2 different teams. First half was bad, and the second half you'd always find a way to close it. Oof, that was not the case. And they weren't doing things that should have been that difficult to adjust to. Like, they went to a 2-back set, and it was like, what do we do? Oh, man. And, look, I've heard coaches that still run 2-backs try to explain this one like, hey, look, people start freaking out because they don't see 2-backs anymore, and they don't know how to take on that extra blocker. I'm like, yeah, but does that really matter? Well, I guess it really does, because that was an adjustment that Florida State made, and you never adjusted to it until the final whistle. Like, think about the Bell touchdown that he caught. It's because you couldn't adjust to it. And that to me, T-Bob, was the most shocking thing, was how good you were at adjusting last year, and you made no adjustments in the second half.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's that's probably the most disappointing part. Like, because as we said, I told you I felt like there was a chance that this LSU wide receiver room was overrated once again, right? That everybody keeps crowning him, but they've never really felt overwhelming. Like, go watch, and I know they're different styles of offense, right? But go watch what Washington's receivers did this weekend. Or think back to how you felt last night watching Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman. You felt scared when that ball was in the air. You don't really feel that. So anyway, like, I can understand the receivers. I can understand the weakness of the secondary because we knew all about that. I can understand all of these things that we'd already talked about. What I can't understand is where we finally came around to, where I came around to was, okay, but at the end of the day, it is basically even on paper. So Brian Kelly and his resume and his process should be the difference, right? That should be enough to push you over the edge. And for that, like you're saying, Jake, for that not only not to be the case, but the complete inverse to happen, where Mike Norvell and his process and his staff and his adjustments ends up being the difference to the tune of 31 unanswered. Do you have any pride? 31 unanswered? What, are you just going to get bullied? Is your lunch money taken? Like you and your friends just get beat down in front of you, just sit there and bleed? So to get beat down 31 unanswered in the second half after when the entire advantage is supposed to be your staff is as disappointing as it could be. And let's be clear about this. As we are going, and I should have prefaced the show with this, we're going to talk about this from the LSU perspective, right? Obviously. It's an LSU show. Florida State's good, first and foremost. Florida State's damn good. We told you a Heisman candidate quarterback, top 10 D-line, top 10 O-line, top 10 receivers, top 10, all of that. And you felt all of that in that game last night. Now, it's not to say that you couldn't have been better, right? But, like, that's an actual championship caliber team. You are not. All the Brandon Walkers of the world calling you overrated before the season start. Well, guess what? Congratulations. You made them right. They get to take a bow.
And they did.
Yeah,
they did
I would too,
quickly.
dude. I mean, I would too. If you call something that's You have that much heat, and then you immediately come out and prove that person right. Of course they're going to victory lap. You deserve to be victory lap. I mean, you don't even care because you're knocked out and bleeding on the ground while FSU's just scoring, taking your women and children.
The intensity of their team in the second half compared to your team is alarming as well.
Soft. You thought you arrived? What have you done?
Effort on the backside of plays. And, I want the film to be up so bad right now, and it's not yet because there's like 7 or 8 plays at the end of that game. Well, not even the end. Fourth quarter, 6 minutes, 7 minutes left where it was decided, but not fully. I mean, just backside of runs. I mean, just not trying to have that effort. And even on the front side of runs, like if you get to your spot where you're supposed to get to, well, that's where you get your calls. That's where you get holding calls on stretches and different. They didn't do any of that. And so, like, that is another thing that's, like, cause for concern because we did not see that a year ago. And T-Bob, you said it, like, this team has not arrived. And last year, obviously, they knew that as well, and the effort they played with was one of the reasons why they won as many games as they did. And so there's so many things to coach off of from this tape. You got to get it fixed quick. You got – just like last year, you had Southern, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Southern and Grambling. There was nothing you were going to be able to do in that game a year ago that changed the narrative. You're supposed to win that game by 50. Just like this week, you're supposed to win the game by 50. But then you start SEC play, and you go on the road. Now, last night was a road game, by the way. Like, that was shocking as well. That was 80-20, maybe 90-10.
Well, one thing, I mean, we don't talk about it all. One thing we've learned, though, I've learned at least in doing this job, is LSU fans don't travel. I mean, they just don't. In fact, LSU fans really don't even fill out Tiger Stadium anymore. We have great reputation.
Like Lambeau, they traveled.
That's fair, but yeah. Okay.
But it's been a minute.
But that's a long time ago. I mean, even last year the Superdome was 50-50.
Yeah.
So I when I saw that, I was going, yeah. I mean, LSU fans, and plus, so already you have a fan base that doesn't really travel, and then everybody already busted their nut going to Omaha for 17 weeks. And they're like, I can't do it again. So no, I mean, look, LSU fans are still some of the best in the entire country, but you know that is not one of their strengths. So it was a road game.
So you've got road games coming up week 3 against Mississippi State. You come back against Arkansas, then you go back on the road, Ole Miss and Mizzou. So the whole point in saying that is you can do nothing to change the narrative this week, and then it starts, right? So you can't feel sorry for yourself. You have to know that. Like last year's team understood that. They realized that there wasn't a lot they could do from losing that game to Florida State until later on down the season. You might even felt like until the Ole Miss game. Now, you got down against Mississippi State, but still you weren't going to get a lot. If you're looking for attaboys, you're not going to get them. Like, you just got to go out there, put your head down, and go to work because you have tough games that people aren't going to give you the just due for going out there and winning those games. And you've got 3 games on the road that you're not – after what we saw last night, you're not rolling the helmet out there and getting those victories against State, against Ole Miss, against Mizzou. So this team did a great job of it last year, not sulking, not putting their head down, and just quitting after game 1. If you do it right now, you're in some real trouble.
Wow, Jake. What incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.